Hello friends, I'm continuing my series on campaign events, this time covering the Tau campaign event, where the Genestealer Cults and Tyranids fight against my beloved Tau. The lore for this event describes the Tau stumbling upon an Imperial world in the midst of a Genestealer cult uprising, and the lore and dialogue screens are pretty fun. I've dedicated an entire section where I just cycle through the dialogue, but feel free to skip the time-stamped area if that's not what you're into. The core 3 campaign characters here are Jude, Holland, and Zybeia. When we have needed the 4th or 5th characters, I have then opted for the most commonly owned Tyranid characters, the Neothrope, Tyrant Guard, and Winged Tyranid Prime. In terms of abilities, you'll generally need fairly strong abilities here, and I would recommend maxing out your characters with the exception of a few actives as denoted here. A quick shout out to Pi, who has been invaluable in putting this together. His referral code is on screen as a thank you. A few quick things to point out as tips and general advice. Firstly, if you have Isaac, use him. You probably won't even need this guide, as spamming the battlefield with summons is a surefire way of beating it quickly and easily. This guide is intended for those that don't have him, and I haven't used Isaac for any stages. Don't be afraid to let your Genestealer Cult characters die if it serves a purpose. They will respawn through a decoy as long as you have one available, and you will still get a full clear. Jude does a lot of damage with her active, especially if she crits. However, if you heal her with Holland first, she gets some bonus damage that makes her active even more reliable. The characters used for these replays have equivalent stats to the borrowed characters. If you've heavily upgraded one of your armor items, for example, you may have some AI targeting change. These videos may not give you exact replays to copy, since there may be some variation induced by things like savior protocols, damage rolls, and stealth suit targeting. Mission 1 starts us off nice and easy. Jude uses her active on the Cadians on the right, Zybeia kills another, and Holland creates a summon. You have 3 turns thereafter to finish the remaining enemies. For mission 2, feel free to take 2 extra characters, but they aren't needed here. Zybeia moves into the trench and kills the guardsman on her right with the help of Holland's summon. Jude takes the empty spot and kills an enemy. The stage is really carried by the NPCs on our side, and Jude's active helps work through the remaining enemies on turn 2. You should finish this with a turn to spare, even with only 3 characters deployed. For Common 3, we add the Tyrant Guard and Neothrope. The Tyrant Guard uses his active in the middle, which moves the Voxcaster and lets Jude kill all 3 on the left. That's the key move for this mission. You have plenty of turns, characters, and NPCs to finish the fight. For 3B, a tougher battle, we call in the Winged Prime. On turn 1, we summon the Tyranid Warrior to kill a Voxcaster. Holland also summons, and the Neothrope attacks and kills a las cannon team. Jude's active and Zybeia's attack should finish off 2 more enemies. On turn 2, we use the Tyranids to kill the Voxcaster, and Zybeia and Jude to kill the Mortar on the top left. From there, things should be straightforward. Jude probably dies, and that lets you use her active again on a group of enemies, and there is effectively 2 turns to finish the fight. We use the same squad for Common 4. The Tyrant Guard moves up and tanks an Overwatch shot, which makes room for Holland to create a summon. Jude and Zybeia kill a Voxcaster in the middle, and the Neuro attacks a las cannon team. Things aren't too strict with the movement and targeting order for the rest of the fight. You will have a lot of time and a lot of units. Just be mindful of the Valkyrie strikes. The areas marked by red smoke will have an artillery attack that does a lot of damage to our low armor units. We drop the Tyrant Guard for Common 5. The Neothrope attacks from its starting position, and the rest of the GSC move along the right. Keeping this position causes the Tau on the left to move across the map. On turn 2, Holland heals Jude to add some damage, and then Jude's active should kill the bulk of the enemy Fire Warriors. It's pretty easy from there, just remember to stay on the right side of the map and finish the enemies off. For mission 6, we're back to our full 5-man squad. On turn 1, we move up our units as shown, and then heal Jude to deal with the Overwatch damage. The Neurotrope's active on turn 2 applies suppression and turns off Revas's Overwatch. The Tyrant Guard then moves in and tanks the remainder of Overwatch shots from the Fire Warriors before taunting Revas. Jude's active kills the Fire Warriors on the right hand side of the map. From there you have a couple of turns and not many enemies left to defeat, so hopefully it's easy enough. We drop the Tyrant Guard again for common 7. We summon turn 1 with Holland, which turns off the Overwatch for the left 2 Fire Warriors and kills one of them. Our remaining characters defeat the front line. Jude probably dies like shown but resurrects through her ambush mechanic. Her active and the Neurotrope kill 3 more Fire Warriors, and from there you just need to be sensible while finishing the fight. For common 8 we're back down to 3. Holland summons and kills a drone, Jude uses her active on the North group, and Zybia attacks too. You might get lucky with a crit and kill a Fire Warrior. Expect your units to die to the Fire Warriors. It shouldn't cause you too much distress due to the ambush respawn, and you can easily finish the stage. There will be some variance based on damage rolls, but the same principle applies. Summon on turn 1 with Holland and use Jude to finish off the front Fire Warrior while Zybia moves behind. On turn 2, Jude should use her active on the largest group of enemies, and you should overheal Zybia with Holland so she doesn't die again. For common 10 we add the Neurotrope. There will be some variation depending on savior protocols and damage rolls. This replay shows that even with the worst case scenario, things are easily still doable. Zybia usually survives the Overwatch and can finish the Fire Warrior that Jude attacked. On turn 2, Holland heals Jude and we use Jude's active on the largest group and make sure that Zybia and Holland can't be shot by 2 Fire Warriors at once. From there, you should have time to clean up, being mindful that you have used your ambush respawns already. Mission 11 is against Shozo, who used to be my favourite character in the game. On turn 1 we turtle and heal Jude. On turn 2 we use Jude's active to kill a bunch of drones. Zybia moves up and hopefully creates a neophyte for Sho to attack next turn. The rest of our squad moves up the map. On turn 3 we taunt Sho with a Tyrant Guard so that he can't run away and make more drones. That gives us the space and time to clean up for an easy 3-star victory. We encounter the Kroot on mission 12 who are Tau auxiliaries. There's nothing fancy here. We summon with Holland on turn 1 and use Jude's active on the biggest group of enemies. Clean up on turn 2. There's more Kroot on 13. Here we summon with Holland and attack with Jude and our 2 Psykers. We are carried through the stage by the ambush mechanic, but your replay might vary slightly depending on how the smite bounces from your Psykers. For 13B we open with Holland's summon on the top left stealth suit and Zybia finishes it off. Jude kills the enemy on the bottom left. Turn 2 will have some variation depending on what the stealth suit does, but you should be able to do this key move with Jude, which is essentially using her active on a big group of enemies on turn 2. If you can manage that, you have time to slowly finish the fight under the remaining time cap. For 14, we're back to a 5-man squad. Tyrant Guard moves up, tanks some Overwatch shots and taunts a Kroot. Neuro and Zybia kill an enemy on the right, and the rest of the GSC follow into the middle. That sequence should create a nice group for Jude to move in and use her active to kill everyone off on the next turn. If not, you have an extra turn for cleanup. 15 is the same team. The Tyrant Guard, Nearthrope and Jude kill the left flank while we wait for the enemy advance. That should set the enemies up for a nice Jude active on turn 2. The enemies here are low threat and we have a generous turn counter. For 16, here Jude does a normal attack on turn 1 to kill a Kroot. Nero kills another, and then the Tyrant Guard takes the middle of the map. You'll probably lose some Genestealer Cults, but they'll come back through the ambush mechanic for an easy finish. You may get some slight variance in behaviour based on savior protocols, but you have an extra turn to clean up and have no risk of losing decoys. For 17, we fight Darkstrider. On turn 1, the Tyrant Guard taunts the middle stealth suit. Holland summons and then Zybia taunts the second stealth suit to the summon. That should set the enemies up for a nice Jude active on turn 2, after which we need to be sensible when attacking and positioning, remembering that some units may not have another life if their ambush has been used up. For 18, the stealth suit AI here is a bit inconsistent. Sometimes they all attack, and sometimes they all use their marker light active. In either case, follow the opening shown here. On turn 2, heal Jude with Holland and use her active on the largest group of stealth suits. From there, you have 2 turns to finish the fight. For 19, we're back to the Winged Prime. We summon the Tyranid Warrior on the high ground to kill a Fire Warrior. The Nearthrope attacks a stealth suit, then Zybia moves forward, eats an overwatch and gets healed by Holland before attacking. On turn 2, the stealth suit usually flanks to attack Holland, but sometimes stays on the high ground. In either case, try and summon an Aberrant to attack him. Move Zybia forward to attack a Fire Warrior, and the rest of your squad moves toward the top right of the map. That should get you in position on the final round to get everyone to attack and finish the battle. For mission 20, Zybia and the Tyrant Guard both spend their first 2 turns killing the bottom Fire Warriors. Jude uses her active on the left sniper drone, and you might get some variation depending on how the Savior Protocol shots are soaked up. If you get the right drone surviving, then kill it with a Neurothrope like shown here. We want that hex free for Holland's summon. That's really the key sequence for this stage. For 21, we start with Neurothrope attacking the stealth suit and the Tyrant Guard taunting him. Holland moves up the left and creates a summon before Jude uses her active on the left group. Jude should die to the enemy Fire Warriors, which means that she can use her active again on turn 2. Heal with Holland first for another big area of effect nuke, and then use your remaining characters to clean up. The Winged Prime comes back for Battle 22 against Shadowsun. We attack with Nero on the left and summon with Winged Prime in the middle. Shadowsun will attack one of the 2 Hormigons that we have spawned. If she attacks the one on the left, we move Zybia into range and taunt her. Or if she attacks the one on the right, you can taunt her to the Aberrant like shown in this replay. On our turn, we simply attack the largest remaining group of enemies with Jude's active. Applying Neuroparasite to Shadowsun helps bring her down. '23 is pretty easy. Kill the 3 stealth suits on turn 1, and the remaining 3 Kroot don't offer much of a threat for the remaining 2 turns. It's nice when they give us really easy battles like this one. For Battle 24, we follow the setup on turn 1 as shown here on screen. we move our units forward and into the middle, because on turn 2 we are looking to use Jude's active on as many Vox casters and las cannons as possible. If you can get a nice big group like I did here, then it's super easy. Remember to try and stay out of the red flares or risk losing characters to artillery damage. We start 25 by sending the Tyrant Guard to eat the overwatch from the las cannon. Then Zybeia attacks and clears a path for Jude to run in and wreak havoc with her active. The rest of the battle is trivial. You might lose Jude, but you have the insurance of her ambush mechanic and plenty of time to clean things up. The Winged Prime is back for 25B. We summon the Tyranid warrior and attack on She with the Neurothrope, creating an army of summons off the bat. Holland heals Jude, who attacks the sniper drone and does some nice area of effect damage. If Sho survives, then Zybeia taunts Sho to Jude. Turn 2 varies depending on how the Tau roll on their damage and where Jude respawns. If she does so as shown here, you can continue to follow the replay, knowing that effectively she is turning off Revas's Overwatch. Otherwise you'll need the Neurothrope to apply suppression or attack Revas to put a Gaunt into melee. It's a tricky stage and I suspect will require a couple of runs before you can fully complete it, but this opening is a fairly reliable, strong start. '26 is fun because we watch the Tau and Imperial Guard fight. We heal Jude on turn 1 and watch the mayhem unfold. We get involved on turn 2 with Zybeia and Holland defeating some Imperial Guard, while Jude uses her active on the Tau. Pretty easy mission, but a fun one. '27 is similar. On turn 1 we use the Neurothrope and Zybeia to put some damage on the bottom Tau units as shown here. On turn 2 we summon with Holland and inch our forces closer to the fight, killing a stealth suit in the process. On turn 3 it's just us against the Tau, and thankfully there aren't enough of them left as a threat to matter too much. I don't think 28 is possible without a couple of lucky crits. On turn 1 we heal Jude to give her some bonus damage and then use her active on the Fire Warrior in the middle. Zybeia attacks it too and makes a line with Holland. This setup is crucial because it causes the enemies to form a perfect concave after they kill Jude and Zybeia. We heal Jude again, who then takes the high ground and uses her active to kill a bunch of enemies. That's the key sequence for this battle. 29 has a tight turn limit and very strong enemies, so you'll need some crits. The opener shown here is the only one that I found lets us safely clear out some enemies on turn 1. I think this level is designed around crits as the stealth suits here have very high armor and basically only die to Zybeia and Neurothrope unless someone crits them. In this recording, Jude fills that role, but you'll need her at near max strength to do the necessary damage. The final mission is against the Riptide as a boss battle. The Riptide's movement on turn 1 is random, but the setup here should work for both openings that it does. If you're using the Neurothrope, focus on taking out the adds first. As long as you apply Neuroparasite on round 4 or earlier, you should be able to defeat the Riptide in time for a lightning victory. Remember that opening with a Neuro's active starts you off with 2 stacks of Neuroparasite right away. this next section will run through all of the dialogue for this entire campaign. Feel free to skip it if this isn't something you're interested in.